The rain fell heavily, covering the sky with heavy gray clouds. The air was filled with the smell of rusty iron, mixed with wet earth. In front of the creaky old iron gate stood a young man with a determined look. His leather jacket was starting to get soaked, but he didn't flinch, staring at the mansion towering in the distance. The house looked like an old monster waiting for prey, with its broken windows resembling empty eyes lurking in the darkness. The gate made a croaking sound when touched, as if trying to warn the young man to retreat, but he knew there was no turning back. It is in that house that the mystery of his family is buried, along with the secrets that have haunted him. One step forward and he was ready to face whatever lay ahead. His footsteps echoed across the crumbling wooden floors, each creak filling the eerie silence in the house. The pale light from the dusty window filtered through thinly, casting faint shadows on the walls full of cobwebs. The air inside felt heavy, like it contained memories that didn't want to be let go. The young man walked slowly through the living room, which was filled with old chairs and tables, whose surfaces were covered with a thick layer of dust. His fingers touched one of the chair backs, and dust immediately flew into the air, making him cough softly. He stepped deeper, towards the large door at the end of the room. However, before he could touch the knob, the door suddenly creaked open by itself. A gust of cold wind hit his face, making him shudder. Beyond the door, there was a long, dark corridor, lit only by the dim light from the end of what looked like a flickering candle. "This is where it all started," he muttered to himself, half to reassure himself, half because of the fear that was starting to bite. He stepped inside, his steps getting slower. Suddenly, a whispering sound was heard, very low but clear enough to make the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. The whispers didn't come from one direction. It seemed to envelop the entire room. The young man's eyes swept across the corridor, but there was nothing. However, his feelings said otherwise. Just when he wanted to turn around, a shadow appeared in the corner of his eye. A vague figure stood at the end of the corridor, silent, watching him. "Who is there?" he shouted, his voice echoing. But the figure didn't answer. The figure just stood there, unmoving, making his heart beat even faster. It's not just about seeking the truth. Now he realized he was playing with something much darker and much older than he had imagined. In an old room that is no longer inhabited, the walls bear silent witness to dozens of faces displayed. Each of the attached photos has a sepia tint that has faded with time, indicating that they are pieces of memories from the distant past. On the dusty wooden floor, a broken glass frame lay scattered, as if it had just fallen, or perhaps been dropped. That night, the atmosphere in the room felt different. Moonlight filtered through the cracked window, reflecting the faint silhouettes of the photos on the wall. Then a voice came, low but clear, like a whisper from the past. "Return." The sound came from the wall. Even though the room was empty, a chill suddenly enveloped him. A young man who had just entered the room to clean the old house stopped in his tracks. He looked up, his eyes scanning the photos. There was something odd. Some of the faces in the photos looked clearer than before. It was as if they were looking directly at him. "What should I return?" the man muttered, half whispering, half asking himself. Suddenly, one of the photos came loose from the wall and fell to the floor, right in front of him. With shaking hands, he took the photo. The face of a young woman was displayed there, wearing simple clothes with sharp eyes. On the back of the photo, there is faint handwriting. "Anna 1923, the key to freedom is under the floor." The man's heart was beating fast. Without thinking, he started tapping on the wooden floor around him, trying to find something. The knocking sounds different in one place. He immediately took a small chisel from his tool bag and began to open the floorboards. Beneath it, there was a small wooden box that was locked tightly. On the top of the box, there were fine engravings of the initials, AL. He tried to open the box, but the key was not found. The whisper came again, louder this time. "Find the key!" The man decided to keep looking. He re-examined the photos on the wall, trying to understand the clues that might be hidden there. Some photos show people with certain objects in their hands, pocket watches, books, necklaces. But in one of the photos, the man saw something different. A man wearing a hat with a small key hanging from his watch chain. He looked for the man's photo on the wall, but didn't find it. He turned around and noticed something strange. The man's photo was now on the floor, even though it was still hanging on the wall before. The man took it and carefully looked at the small key depicted in the photo. Is this? Before he finished his sentence, he felt the air in the room getting heavier. He felt the urge to put the photo near the wooden box. As soon as he did, the small lock on the photo began to glow faintly, and a clicking sound could be heard from the wooden box. With a pounding heart, he opened the box. Inside, there was a stack of old letters tied with a red ribbon and a small medallion with Anna Levitz's name engraved on it. When the man held up the letters, the whispers in the room turned into soft laughter, like someone who had finally found peace. The photos on the wall began to fade, one by one, until only a blank wall remained. Only the photo of the young woman named Anna remains, now with a small smile that seems to have just appeared. The room fell silent. The man looked at Anna's photo and said quietly, "Are you free now?" Only silence answered him. But in his heart, he knew he had helped complete something that had long been neglected.